Now that I think about it, Fisher Tiger might have had the saddest backstory in One Piece. Because the amount of tragedy that he went through, no fishman or man should ever have to go through. And unfortunately, there are people in this world that have gone through just as much as him. Because not only was Fisher Tiger a big brother to Jinbei, he was also very recognized around all of Fishman Island. So much so that even King Neptune understood how influential he was in the Fishman Island. But the problem was, he had a very understandable hate for humans, and this was at the time that Queen Otohime was trying to get everybody integrated with the humans and the fishmen, which was it was bad at the time. And it didn't get any better because of what he had to do when he finally set out on his own. For a numerous amount of years, he was a slave to the Celestial Dragons, and he eventually escaped, going back to Fishman Island with a purpose. And when he finally went back to Fishman Island, no one knew that he was a slave for this long, but he set off in his mind that I'm about to get everybody else that I left behind when I was a slave. So what he decides to do is to set out to sea again and climb the entire Grand Line to go back to Marie Joie and save everybody. By himself, he caused a ruckus and he saved everybody. Humans, fishmen, a whole bunch of different races. Fun fact, even Boa Hancock was saved by Fisher Tiger. After he freed all of the slaves, he decided to create an entire crew of people that came up under him, having that same ideology, emphasizing with every single one of them, we are not killing, we're just freeing a whole bunch of people and setting an example for what the government shouldn't be trying to do to people. Thus creating the Sun Pirates, revamping the emblem that the Celestial Dragons put over him so he can make it into a sun, and creating a whole new symbol of what the Navy should be fearing, giving him over 100 million berry bounty. But their ideologies were tested when they were assigned to bring a little girl named Koala back to her hometown, and a whole bunch of them had to be on the same ship as her while they were hating humans. And even though it was sad throughout the beginning of the time, all she did was keep a plain face about her, and all she did was just be obedient. But they eventually started warming up to her, and they started liking her, except for Arlo. And eventually they bring her back to her hometown, but you'd think that'd be the end of the good story, right? You'd be terribly mistaken, because the mother of Koala ended up calling the Marines on the fishmen that brought her daughter home. And during this time, Fisher Tiger had to fight the Marines and got ambushed, and he got mortally injured. But fortunately, he could be saved, but the biggest issue is that he needed to do a blood transfusion with a human. And with what he just experienced, it's understandable that he'd rather die than have human blood in his fishman body. Which is why when Jinbei and Luffy do a blood transfusion in Fishman Island, it meant so much, because all the hatred that he knew Fisher Tiger felt when he died has dissipated from what he feels about humans now. And later on, you see that Koala is a part of the Revolutionary Army, and I just figured out that a couple weeks ago. Let me know what you think about Fisher Tiger's story, man.